The Joy of Music. My name is Diane Bish, and I would like to invite you to join us today for our special program of Music on the Rhine. Share with us the amazing sights and sounds of cities and towns, cathedrals and monasteries along the famous Rhine River. Thank you for joining us. Our musical journey on the Rhine begins in Lucerne, Switzerland. The Chapel Bridge is the centerpiece of Lucerne's townscape and is considered to be one of the oldest covered wooden bridges in Europe. Lucerne is a town of squares and churches. The Jesuit church, dating from the 17th century, is regarded as one of Switzerland's most beautiful interiors, and the twin towers of the Hochkirche form an integral part of the townscape. Not far from Lucerne, out in the countryside, we paid a visit to the amazing Sankt Urban Monastery, which houses one of the most famous and historic organs from the 1700s. The organ of the Sankt Urban Church in Switzerland is one of the most beautiful instruments in the country. It was built by Bossard in 1721 and has 40 stops and 3 manuals. It is decorated in a pristine white and gold ornamentation. There are 2 unusual aspects of the organ. The first is that the E flat and the D sharp are divided. Even though they look like the same note, they are different. And both the pedals and the keyboards begin in the bass with a short octave. It is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And one couples the manuals by pushing in the board, which is over the manual on the top. So it's in and out. And then the manuals are coupled. From St. Urban, we travel on to Basel, Switzerland, where we board our riverboat on the Rhine River, traveling to Strasbourg, France. We arrive in Strasbourg and pay a musical visit to the historic St. Thomas Church, famous for its Silbermann organ. The St. Thomas Church in Strasbourg, France, is a Protestant church and is very important for the region from a cultural and historic perspective. The Strasbourg Cathedral had to be given to the Catholics when the French occupied Strasbourg in 1681. Since then, St. Thomas has become the main Protestant church in the region. There are 5 naves in the St. Thomas Church. It is the oldest church in southeast Alsace. The church is also known for its organs. One of them was built by Johann Andreas Silbermann in 1741. The family Silbermann, father and sons, were the most important German organ builders of the 18th century. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart played here in St. Thomas several times during the 3 weeks he spent in Strasbourg in 1778, and wrote in a letter to his father Leopold Mozart all about it. The other organ built for the choir was designed by Albert Schweitzer and was built in 1906. From Strasbourg, we travel on the Rhine to Heidelberg, Germany, one of Europe's most picturesque towns. We play the organ of the pristine Jesuit church. It is our delight to play the beautiful organ of the Jesuit Church in Heidelberg. Located in the balcony of this sparkling white church, the organ contains 3 manuals and 54 stops. Built in 2009 by the Kuhn Organ Company, the organ is a grand sound, from the charming flutes to the brilliant trumpets. On our Rhine River journey, we come to the town of Rüdesheim, the center of the Rheingau. It is one of the most picturesque and historical along the river. The historical roots of Rüdesheim reach back to before the Roman era. Along with interesting sights and panoramic view of the Rhine, we were fascinated to visit a unique museum, the Museum of Automatic Musical Instruments. It's our delight to be here in Rüdesheim in the Musical Instrument Museum. And I am here with the owner of this fascinating museum, Siegfried. Siegfried, thank you for allowing us to come and hear these fascinating instruments.
Thank you that you are here.
How long have you owned this museum?
The museum is open to the public since '69. But I started to collect earlier, so I'm now, it's now 40 years ago that I started to collect mechanical musical instruments.
We arrive in Koblenz, Germany, where we play the great new organ of the Basilica. The Basilica St. Castor is the oldest church in Koblenz, dating back to the year 817, and is located near Deutsches Eck at the confluence of the Rhine and the Mosel rivers. A fountain called Castorbrunnen, or Castor Well, was built in front of the basilica during Napoleon's invasion of Russia in 1812. The church, one of the notable landmarks of Koblenz, is worth seeing for the historical events that have occurred in it. Its extensive Romanesque construction and its largely traditional furnishings. Since 2002, the Basilica of St. Castor has been part of the UNESCO World Heritage cultural landscape of the Upper Middle Rhine Valley. joining us today on The Joy of Music, as we have brought you Music on the Rhine. We look forward to seeing you again on The Joy of Music.